Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to make garden markers with sublimation. So whether you have a vegetable garden, you're planting some herbs, does not matter, you might need to add a garden marker to them. So I do have a variety of shapes and sizes for this, so from large ones to small ones. So whatever size garden you have, or even a container garden, you can make this to mark your plants. Now I have a free file for you for the background. I will link to that in the description below this video, as well as all 3 different varieties of garden markers that I'm using. There are other varieties available online and you can purchase those. Just make sure they're marked for sublimation. So now let's take a look at the supplies we're going to use. The supplies you'll need are as follows: protective paper, heat resistant gloves. I like to use a firm heat resistant mat for projects like this, and this one is from Artistry. Heat resistant tape, and then your garden marker blanks themselves. Now I have 3 different versions. I'm going to link to the ones I'm using. You can use any of the versions, or you can find other shapes and sizes that will work for sublimation as well. Just make sure that they're labeled as a sublimation garden marker. And then you will want to print your sublimation prints. So these are sublimation ink printed on sublimation paper from a sublimation printer. And first we're going to walk through how to do these designs. I do have the background with all the vegetables on it that I'm using for this for free, and you can find that file in the description below this video. The first design we're going to make is in Canva. So we're going to go to create a design, and I like to do custom size, and I like to make this the size of my sublimation paper. So I'm going to make it 8.5 by 11. The next thing you'll want to do is to upload your design. So I'm going to head to Uploads, Upload Files, then find the design on my computer. Then you just click that design to add it to your page. Now we want to design our garden marker. First thing I'm going to do is to pick a square, and I'm going to make this square a little oversized for my marker. So if you click position, you'll see advanced down here. You can unlock here and then enter your width and the height. So I'm going to enter 4.125 by 3. So that is roughly what I need this to be. So I can lay this design over it. And as you can see, my design is square because I wanted it to work for a wide variety of garden markers. So I'm going to lay this over the top and pick the area I want. So do I want more of this carrot? Do I want more of this bottom portion? So I can kind of lay it over the area that I would like. Then I can use this rectangle as a guide. And if I pull from here, it crops the image. So I can just pull it down until it's about the size of that original rectangle. So that crops my image. And now I can use this rectangle again for another garden marker, or I can delete it. Now we want to add text over the top somehow. However, I do want to be able to read the text. So first of all, I'm going to pick a shape, and you can find a wide variety of shapes that you can use for free within Canva. So I'm going to use this oblong oval here, and I'm going to change the color to white. I can resize this, make it smaller or larger, and place it in the center of my design here. Then I'm going to go to text. You can click add a text box, and I'm going to do this one as maybe peppers. I definitely don't want this font, so I'm going to find a font I like. So once I find a font I like, I can resize this and locate it over this design here. Now what I would also want to do is change the color of this text. So I'm going to pick text color. But I want to pick a color that will match what I've used for the outside surround. So I'm going to click this plus button here and then click the eyedropper. And now I can pick from the design what color I would like the text to be. So I'm going to pick right there. And now you can see it changes the color, and now it matches my background exactly. So I really like this for the first garden marker that I'm going to show you. So this is one way that you could do this. So let's make a second version in a similar manner. So again, I have my design here. I've made a rectangle the size of a different type of garden marker. For this one, I just want to capture sort of the top of this. So I'm just going to lay this over it, then sort of crop this down, pull it to where it hits that rectangle. And I like that color, so I'm going to do position and send that to the back. And now we can kind of see how much room we would have for text, and it's probably not enough in this case. So what I can do is expand this back out And let's try again. So let's rotate this. Maybe try to get that full carrot on our design here. Still not a ton of room for text. So this is how much room you would have for text at the top up here. So let's eliminate that carrot entirely. And I'm going to resize this. Now I am happier with this. Now the rectangle color, don't worry about it entirely. You could leave it that color. You could remove the background of this image and make the entire background, but I'm going to make my background white in this case. So I'm going to actually just use the same text. I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to type a different word. I'm going to lay that over the top, and this time I could resize this, make it a little larger. So now I have my text and my design. I'm going to delete this outside rectangle. So I was using it sort of as a template. Once I delete that, you can see this is what my garden marker is going to look like with a white background. So I really like doing that version as well. So now I can download this as a PDF for print. And then once that's downloaded, I can print that on my Sublimation printer. Now I want to show you one more idea I have for using this, and I'm going to use Cricut Design Space for that option. First, I'm going to upload that same garden pattern. I'm going to call this Complex, click Continue. You can remove the background if you would want. The white background is fine with me. I'm just going to click Apply and Continue. I'm going to upload it as a print and cut image and click Upload. So once that's uploaded, we'll pick it and click Add to Canvas. So for this one, I want to add text and just type whatever you would like it to be. You can pick a font, whatever font you would like. I'm just going to stick with this Cricut Sans, but I did make it bold. A bolder, chunkier font will work better for this. And then we can resize this. So I want it to be about 7 inches wide, but I do want the text to be taller than this. And if you expand in Cricut Design Space, it just makes it 2 different lines, which I do not want. So I'm going to take this and make sure that the word is what you want it to be at this point, that you don't need to make any changes. And I'm going to go ahead and click Combine and Weld. Now I can take this and I can increase the size this way. It doesn't have to be, 2 inches might be a little stretched out. So I can go about there. It doesn't look too bad, not too stretched out. So now I have the size I would like. So now I'm going to take my design, resize it over the top, and then we want to lay this where we want to trim. So I would like this tomato as much as possible in this. So I'm going to lay it over the top, and we can increase this just a little bit to get a little more in that T. And now that we have that, we can pick both of these and click Slice. And now we have this, this, and we have this. You only want to delete off this big piece for now. So what I'm going to do with these two is pick them both, align, and center. Then I'm going to pick the text only, so the gray here, and I'm going to add an offset around it. And you can play with the amount. I like 0.1 offset. I do like the rounded corners. I'm going to click Apply. Now I'm going to get rid of the text itself. For the offset, I am going to move that behind the slice result. And then I can take the offset and I can change it to a different color. So I'm actually going to click Advanced here. So I kind of like the idea of a dark gray around it. You could definitely play, change around the colors, pick whatever you would like. Now we're going to pick both of these and click Flatten. So now we're left with one print and cut image. And now we can click Make It. And you can see that item is ready to be printed. I did want to note here that we are using Cricut Design Space. We can't get rid of these registration marks. But in this case, Cricut Design Space makes it very easy to make this, trim those letters out of a sublimation print, and add that offset. So I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. Then I'm going to send this to my sublimation printer. I'm going to turn off Bleed, click Use System Dialog, and click Print. So I'm going to flip in the printer options. So I'm going to flip horizontally within the printer options, and then I'm going to go ahead and print this. Now that I have everything designed, let's head to the pressing portion of this video. Next, we're going to prep these blanks, and the first thing I'm going to do is lint roll them. You do need a lint roller. I neglected to mention that in the supplies portion. You could also clean them with rubbing alcohol and a lint-free cloth. So we're going to clean each one of these. And then we want to add our sublimation print. So I find it a bit easier to kind of trim around these. Once you've trimmed around these, it's really going to depend on how you made the design, how you would add it. So this one's oversized. I can just see where this is, kind of locate it, and use a few pieces of heat resistant tape and just secure that sublimation print into place. This version, of course, it has white at the top. So I'm going to line it up across the bottom, get it as straight as possible, and then add a few pieces of heat resistant tape. Now you could add this across the top. If you're worried about the location of the lettering, lift it up slightly and sort of see how much white space you're going to have at the top. I am happy with the way that turned out, so I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. Next up is this version, and I went ahead and trimmed this very closely, and that way I can see where I'm locating it, and I put this purposefully where it's almost to the edge. So I'm going to take my time, locate it, and tape it down. So now we have all of those located and secured. For all of these, I'm going to add protective paper to both the top as well as the bottom. And for these, I just sort of fold this piece over. Then we want to put this sublimation print side up. And then we're adding it to this firm heat resistant mat. I'm going to press each of these 400 degrees, 90 seconds, about medium pressure. I am using my Easy Press here, but these will work with any heat press or even like your Cricut Auto Press, HTV Ront Auto Press. Any of those would work. If you're using any auto press, you might want to replace the mat with this firm heat resistant mat just so it doesn't have as much give. Once that time is up, I'm going to lift the Easy Press, and this is going to be very hot because it is metal. So I'm going to remove this with a pair of heat resistant gloves, and you can see the gorgeous sublimation results. So I'm going to go ahead and press all three of these, and then we'll take a look at all of them. And here's a closer look at the completed markers. So each of these have a slightly different look, and it's just going to depend on the look you would like. And you could add this look to a marker that is shaped like this. So pick your shape, pick your look, and make some garden markers. Now this one is my personal favorite if you would like to know. This one might be a close second, but I do love this version as well. I would check wherever you purchase these and see if they have a UV resistant coating. If they do, technically you can just sublimate them and put them outdoors. However, adding a UV coating over the top is just going to make them last even longer. So I would get a clear UV coating and spray it over the top of these regardless if the listing says it has one or not. So at this stage, now that it's sublimated, you can just take it and spray a UV resistant coating over the top, and it will make them last even longer outdoors. That way the sunlight doesn't affect them as much. So that's really it. Once you have it sublimated, you add a UV protectant over it, these are ready to put outside. And I did want to note that all of these are only one-sided. So you sublimate on the white side, the silver side is not sublimatable. So this would be a one-sided project. If you wanted a double-sided project, you might look for double-sided markers. I don't think I saw any. Or you could get two of these and kind of put them back to back. So you could get two for every marker that you needed if you needed it to be double-sided for some reason. So just wanted to note that. So do take that into consideration when you're picking the garden marker itself. Do you need it single-sided or double-sided? And if you can only find the single-sided ones, which I could only find the single-sided ones, then you might want to consider buying two to put them back to back. But otherwise, these are metal. They'll work amazingly outside, and adding that UV protectant over the top will make them last as long as possible. Now, all that's left for you to do is to pick your favorite garden marker, pick a design to go with it. I showed you 3 different options here, and start making your project. So I hope you like this. If you have any questions about making sublimation garden markers, ask those in the comment section below. If you liked this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.